Alright, welcome to another tutorial of modeling. Today we will be modeling a bookshelf. So like previously, what you're going to do is create a new project folder. You can go to File, Project Window, hit New, name it Bookshelf. Make sure it's where you want it located. So from my previous project, it is already located in the area that I want it. Once you do that, find the location that you want it. You're going to go ahead and hit Accept to create that project folder. And then if you remember from last time, we need to make sure that we set our project so we know whenever we save our files, it is saving them to the exact location that we want it, into our project folder that we created. So you're going to go back to File, then do Set Project, and select Bookshelf. Make sure it's highlighted, make sure it says it right in the directory, and go ahead and hit Set. Alright, now that our new project folder is created and that our project is set, what we need to do is make sure we bring in the reference image. So I'm going to go ahead and hit spacebar to open up the different view windows here. I'm going to make sure I hover my mouse over the front, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the front view. Then I'm going to go to View, go to Import Plane, and import our image. I'm going to go find my images. And then find my bookshelf. There we go. So here's my bookshelf. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hit the W key. It should allow me to move the image here, and I'm going to bring it up above our horizon line to make sure it is not below. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to move the image so it won't be in the way. And seeing that the image is a little small, I'm going to go ahead and hit R and scale that image up a bit. So we're not working in a small area. Go back to my front view. I'm going to drag it again, make sure you have at least the little base of the actual bookshelf touching the horizontal line. Right, and then lastly what I'm going to do is, so we don't have to worry about having this image in the perspective view, I'm going to go ahead and go under Attribute Editor. Let it load here real quick. And under where it says Image Plane Attributes, I'm going to go ahead and hit where it says in all views. I'm going to go ahead and select where it says Looking Through Camera. So that way, it is only in the view that we brought it in and will only be in there. So that way when we look at it in the perspective view, we won't have to worry about the image getting in the way. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to use a cube in order to create our bookshelf. So we're going to go to Create on top, again using polygon primitives, and we are going to select the cube. Now you can see that the cube is below here. And what we're going to do is we are going to scale the cube to make sure it at least evens out to about right here. So if it reaches past or below the top of the bookshelf, that's fine. We kind of want to make sure we at least get it to at least about right here. So hitting the R button to bring in your scale tool. Again, hitting the middle for an even scale. Go ahead and click it. We're just going to go ahead and drag it to about right here. Take a look at it in our perspective view. you can see that it is a little too thick what we want it. So using the blue scale to move it in the Z axis, we're going to select it, kind of scale it in just a little bit. Kind of looks like about the size of a bookshelf. Right there should be good. Then what we're going to do is go back to our front view. I'm going to go ahead and move this up real quick. Now, just like we did in our previous modeling tutorial, I'm going to go under shading. I'm going to turn on X-ray so I can kind of see the image itself as I'm modeling. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit wireframe on shaded. So now that I can see, I'm actually going to go ahead and go back down to where that base of the bookshelf is. Make sure it matches. Then we are going to go to vertices. So make sure you right click on the object, on your shape, hold, and go to your vertex option so we can turn on the vertices. Left clicking, hold, and drag. We're going to select the top, and we're going to move it to about the top right here of our bookshelf. And then the next step that we're going to do, very similar to our previous project, we are going to go to faces so we can extrude those faces. So right clicking and hold to bring up your options again. We're going to select face. So once you have it highlighted, you're going to go ahead and let go to turn on the face options. As you can see, as you move your mouse in front of the face, it lights up. I'm going to hit space, go to my perspective view. I'm going to go ahead and select the top face here. Once you have that selected, we're going to go back to the front view, follow our reference image. And as you can see, it kind of looks like they have some bumps here, so it looks like they kind of create an angle and there's different layers of it. So we're going to try and follow that image as we do it. So we are going to use the extrude option again. We are going to go to edit mesh, select extrude. As you can see, our tool changes to let you know that you're on the extrude option. We're going to take the blue arrow here for your move tool, and we're going to move it right to this level for the first row of this part here. Now, as you can see, it angles, so what we are going to do is we are going to hit R for our scale, and we are going to use the red one, so that way we are just moving to the direction of the x-axis instead of expanding out more than we need to. So we're just going to do one side. So clicking the red little cube here for the x-axis of scaling, you're going to click hold, and we're going to drag it till it goes about right there. Kind of match it. That should be good. So then, like the previous tutorial, if you hit G, you'll go back to your extrude option. We are going to bring it up about right there. And then we are going to hit G again to create another face. And then using R, we're going to scale it out a little bit till it reaches about right here. Hitting the W key, we're going to bring it back that move tool, and we're going to scale it up. Now it looks like we still need to move it down a little bit. So using hitting the R key, we're going to go back to our scale. I'm going to scale it out about right there. Might not touch it, which is completely fine. Then we're going to hit G one last time to kind of create that little top part here. Move it. Alright, so let's take a look at it in our perspective view here. As you can see, we get this shape here, which looks pretty good. Looks similar to the shape that we want. Alright, so then since we're kind of done with that, I'm going to go back to our front view. Now we are going to work on creating these individual spaces for the shelves. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to use the Etch Loop tool to kind of help create these open spaces for shelves. So what we're going to do is you're going to right click, hold, and we're going to go to our edge option. Highlight over it with your mouse and let go. So now as you can see, our edges are now highlighting in red to let you know that we can start selecting our edges. Now we are going to use the edge loop option again. Insert edge loop. We're going to go to mesh tools, select your insert edge loop. So you can see your mouse changes, let you know you're in that option. And what we are going to do is create the lines to kind of help shape each shelf here. Now as you can see, we kind of have these bases here. So we're going to have to create some lines to kind of create that little thickness that we want to create those shelves and more of the base of the bookshelf in general. So what we're going to do is select the edge of this loop here on the right side. Click and hold. We're going to drag it about right here to indicate the top of the bookshelf. Select the edge again to get ready to create a new one. And drag it about right here for this beginning of this new shelf. We're going to keep doing this to create each shelf. So using the reference, make sure you create each edge loop for each shelf. We're going to do at least 2 here. So because we have this main base, we're going to put this here, and then we're going to create one right there for the bottom of it. Perfect. So now that we have our horizontal lines to create the beginning of our shelves, we are now going to create the vertical ones. So selecting one of the horizontal lines, we're going to select by left clicking and holding. As you can see, the direction of the edge loop switches. We're going to hold and drag it to about right here to indicate the side of the shelf. And just like what we did with all the horizontal shelves, we're going to do the same thing for the vertical ones. So do that by following the reference. Alright, so let's take a look at this in our perspective view. I'm going to go ahead and hit W, the W key, to get out of our edge loop option. So in our perspective view, this is what it looks like so far. As you can see, the shape is slowly coming in place. how we want it. So now what we have to do is start creating those individual spaces. So what we're going to do next is we are going to right click where you have your options pull up. We're going to hit faces. So then what we're going to do next is we're going to select each individual face. So once you select the first one, you're going to hold shift in order for you to select all the others. So we're going to hit each square here. You can see that we get our shelf. And if I didn't mention it before, if you hold Alt and left click, you can rotate in your 3D space. So now that we have all of our faces selected, we are going to use Extrude again. So, in our perspective view, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to Edit Mesh, select Extrude. Our Extrude option pulls up, and using the blue arrow to represent our Z-axis, we're going to click and hold, and we're going to push in. So I'm going to be moving around a little bit to kind of figure out what space I want. So at this point, you can decide how deep or how thin you want it. I'm going to go in about, I think right there should work just fine. That looks pretty good. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and right click, hold, and go to object mode. So we get out of the face option, face mode. So as you can see, our bookshelf is slowly coming together. But now we need to use our edge loop to start creating the tension to hold the shape. So if I go ahead and select it and I hit 3, you can see how it looks more rounded. There's no tension to hold the shape that we want. So I'm going to go back to our main object mode by hitting 1. And going back to Mesh Tools, looking on top, select your Insert Edge Loop. And now we are going to start creating the edges, the edge loops for the edges that we want to hold. So what we're going to do is we're going to select an edge here. Going to put an edge out here to hold the shape. And right below it, we're going to create another one to kind of hold these edges here. And then you're going to do one towards the base to hold the base. And you're going to do this for each edge to hold it. And that includes the inside of each space to hold that. You can see how it's creating each edge. And as you can see, there's not one right here, so we want to make sure we create an edge right here to hold those corners. Always got to make sure you put the edge loops in order to hold each edge. So go ahead and do this for each area. Make sure you're getting each side, as I missed these here. And the more you do this, the faster it'll start getting with the edge loops. Kind of move down a little closer. If you get out of your edge loop tool, just remember hitting Y will take you back. Hit those edge loops to hold the tension. And it looks like I've missed a few. Want to make sure we get all of them. Gotta make sure we hold those corners. Looks like we're close to finishing here. Right. Have the edge loop here. Here. Start creating that tension for each corner so we can hold. and one right on top. Okay, I'm going to hit W to get out of my edge loop option. I'm going to grab right click and hold and go to object mode to get out of the edge option here. Alright, so now if we hold the 3 key, now you can see that our shelf folds up. Perfect. So that ends this modeling tutorial, and I will see you at the next one. Make sure after you finish your project that you do File, you do Save As Scene to save your file. Make sure now that we set our project, it should open up. It should save under Scenes. You're going to name your scene BookShelf. You can do _01 for if you're doing different versions, different iterations. And once you name it, you can do Save As. You're going to go ahead and hit Continue if you're using a student version. And that way we have our file saved. So I will see you guys at the next tutorial, and hope you enjoyed this lesson.